Hi friends, today our topic is Alzheimer's disease. Alzheimer's disease is a progressive, irreversible neurodegenerative disease with the loss of neurons in brain, particularly in the cortex of the brain, leading to symptoms of dementia. Alzheimer's disease is the sixth leading cause of death in United States and it is estimated to approach 16 million people by the year 2050. Alzheimer's disease is characterized by neuronal cell dysfunction or death of the neurons and shrinkage of brain tissue, leading to progressive cognitive, motor, and behavioral impairment. This disease is associated with accumulation of beta amyloid plaques and neurofibrillary tangles. The normal functions of cerebral cortex in healthy brain are language and information processing, and the function of hippocampus is formation of new memories. In Alzheimer's affected brain, the cortex shrivels up, damaging the areas involved in thinking, planning, and remembering. And the ventricles are filled with cerebrospinal fluid and they grow larger. And hippocampus shrinks severely. The progress of Alzheimer's disease is centrifugal. That means it starts from hippocampus and then it spreads to the peripheral areas, that is areas of cerebral cortex. As the disease progresses centrifugally in outward direction, the motor areas, sensory areas and speech areas get affected, leading to anterograde amnesia, aphasia and mood imbalances. And so the executive functions like decision making get impaired. Origin of Alzheimer's disease. The disease was first described by Dr. Alois Alzheimer, a German physician, in 1906. Alzheimer had a patient named Auguste D. in her 50s who suffered from what seemed to be a mental illness. But when she died in 1906, an autopsy revealed dense deposits, which are now called neuritic plaques, outside and around the nerve cells of her brain. Inside the cells were twisted strands of fiber called neurofibrillary triangles. Since Dr. Alois Alzheimer was the first person who discovered the disease, Alzheimer's disease was named after him. How Alzheimer's disease differs from dementia. Alzheimer's disease and dementia are not one and the same. Alzheimer's disease is a type of dementia and it is the most common type of dementia. The terms dementia and Alzheimer's sometimes used interchangeably. However, these two conditions are not the same. Dementia is a broader term for conditions with symptoms relating to memory loss, such as forgetfulness and confusion. Dementia further includes more specific conditions such as Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, and traumatic brain injury, which can cause these symptoms. The causes, symptoms, and treatment can be different for all these different diseases. From the age of 65 to 75 years, there are 3% chances of someone developing Alzheimer's. That is, after 65 years of age, 1 out of 3 people would develop Alzheimer's, and the ratio is 1 is to 3. As the age progresses from 75 to 84 years, the incidence actually jumps to 19%. That is, almost 1 in 5 will get Alzheimer's disease. After 85 years of age, the incidence is 47%. That is, almost half of the population after 85 years of age will develop Alzheimer's. At the same time, there is a lot of research that is going on to at least prevent it or to slow down it and to see whether we can treat it. Women are more prone to Alzheimer's disease than men. Exact cause of the disease is still unknown. Pathophysiology is quite complex and not clearly understood. However, there are few hypotheses that try to explain the cause of the disease. Mainly they are cholinergic hypothesis, oxidative stress hypothesis, beta amyloid hypothesis and tau protein hypothesis. Cholinergic hypothesis states that possible cause of Alzheimer's is loss of central cognitive neurons, that is the deficiency of acetylcholine, a neuron transmitter which is involved in memory and learning. Oxidative stress hypothesis states the release of free radicals, which is also known to cause this disease. And then the two important hypotheses here are beta amyloid hypothesis and tau protein hypothesis. Beta amyloid hypothesis states that Alzheimer's may be caused by abnormal formation of beta amyloid proteins. Here we can see the cell membrane of neuron in brain. In this cell membrane, you have got this molecule called amyloid precursor protein, which is shown in pink color. One end of this protein is inside the cell and the other end is outside the cell. The function of this amyloid precursor protein, APD, is believed that this helps the neuron grow and repair itself after an injury. Since amyloid precursor protein APP is a protein, it's just like any other protein, gets used, broken down and then gets recycled. Normally, it gets chopped out by an enzyme called alpha secretase and one more enzyme called gamma secretase. These chopped up peptides or fragments are soluble and go away. Everything is fine. And this is normal. It is happening in all of us. If another enzyme instead of alpha secretase, that is beta secretase, is involved in chopping along with gamma secretase, then the problem starts. The leftover fragments here are insoluble and it creates a monomer called amyloid beta monomer. Like this, many amyloid beta monomers are formed by the action of beta secretase in place of alpha secretase, and all these bind together outside the neurons and form plaques called beta amyloid plaques. As these beta amyloid plaques are found at the junction of neurons, they disrupt the signaling. Beta amyloid actually is a metabolic waste product. It is present in fluid between brain cells. In Alzheimer's disease, beta amyloid clumps together form amyloid plaques as shown in the figure. As they disrupt the communication between the neurons, that is, neuron signaling is disturbed between neuron to neuron. Here, if the brain cells can't signal and relay information, then the brain functions like memory can get seriously impaired. It is also thought that these plaques can start up or trigger immune response and cause inflammation which might damage the surrounding neurons. Amyloid plaques can also deposit around the blood vessels in the brain, and hence this pathology is known as amyloid angiopathy, which weakens the wall of the blood vessels and then increases the risk of hemorrhage, rupture and blood loss. These are the images. Another part of Alzheimer's disease is formation of neurofibrillary tangles, and this is explained by tau protein hypothesis. Just like other cells, neurons are held together by cytoskeleton, which is partly made up of microtubules, which play a crucial role in transport of nutrients and information throughout the neurons. A special protein called tau protein makes sure that these tracks of microtubules not to break apart. It's thought that the beta amyloid plaques, which build up outside the neurons, as seen in beta amyloid hypothesis before, those plaques in turn damage the pathways inside the neuron, which leads to activation of kinase, an enzyme that transfers phosphate group to this tau protein. Thus, the normal tau protein then changes its shape. It stops supporting the microtubule now, and it clumps up with the other tau proteins and forms tangles. Hence, the other characteristic feature of Alzheimer's disease is formation of neurofibrillary tangles. Neurons with tangles in non-functional microtubules can't transfer signals and nutrients as well, and sometimes they also undergo apoptosis, that is programmed cell death. This is the image of histology showing plaques and tangles. The hallmarks of Alzheimer's disease now are intracellular neurofibrillary tangles and extracellular beta amyloid plaques. This is the image showing healthy brain and Alzheimer's disease affected brain. Here we can see cerebral cortex is normal and hippocampus is also normal in healthy brain, and gyri and sulci are well maintained. But in Alzheimer's disease, brain shows shrinkage of cerebral cortex, enlarged ventricles, and shrinkage of hippocampus. And the sulci, which are the grooves between the gyri, gets wider, and the gyri, which are the characteristic regions of the brain, get narrowed. Why this happens in some people and not in some people? Actually, the Alzheimer's disease onset is of two types, familial and sporadic. Sporadic is of late onset. The exact cause is not well defined, and it is a combination of genetic and environmental risk factors. It accounts to majority of cases. The risk increases significantly with age, affecting around 1% of people between 60 to 65 years age and 50% of the people over the age 85. The gene contributing to risk of Alzheimer's disease is allele of apolipoprotein E gene, which is E4 allele. Researchers have shown that the risk of developing Alzheimer's disease increases in patients who inherit this ApoE4 gene, and the risk is more for patients who inherit two ApoE4 genes. So here, if a person inherits ApoE4 gene, one gene is less risk, and if a person inherits two ApoE4 genes, then the risk is more for getting Alzheimer's disease. ApoE proteins help break down of amyloid, but E4 is less effective than other alleles like ApoE2 gene. It means patients are more likely to develop beta amyloid plaques. Familial cases, on the other side, refers to an early onset Alzheimer's disease where some dominant genes get inherited that speeds up the progression of the disease. It accounts for 5 to 10% of cases, and it could be caused by several gene mutations. First mutation is in presenilin 1 and presenilin 2. PSE1 gene resides on chromosome number 14 and PSEN2 gene resides on chromosome number 1, and these genes encode for presenilin 1 and presenilin 2, which are subunits of protein gamma secretase. The mutations in PSE1 and PSEN2 gene can change the chopping location of gamma secretase in amyloid precursor protein, producing beta amyloid molecules which clumps and forms the plaques. Another known cause of Alzheimer's disease is trisomy 21 or Down syndrome, which involves an extra copy of chromosome number 21. The gene responsible for production of APP is found on chromosome number 21. People with Down syndrome have an extra APP gene, that is amyloid precursor protein gene, and presumably increases expression of APP and potentially increases the amount of amyloid plaques buildup. Thus, familial cases of Alzheimer's disease are seen in patients after 40 years of age and in people with Down syndrome. There are 7 stages of Alzheimer's disease which can be grouped into mild, moderate, and severe stages. The symptoms which are seen in Alzheimer's disease are anomia, apraxia, agnosia, amnesia, and aphasia. 5 A's to remember. Anomia means unable to remember names. Apraxia means misuse of objects because they can't identify objects due to the loss of neurons. Agnosia, unable to recognize familiar objects, tastes, and sounds. Amnesia, loss of memory. Aphasia, loss of speech. In all the 7 stages, in the early stage, symptoms might not be detectable. As the disease progresses, there will be short-term memory loss. For example, they might not be able to remember what they had for that particular day breakfast. That is, patient can't recollect what he had breakfast on that particular morning. Then loss of motor skills, making things difficult like eating without the help of others. Also, language becomes affected, making it more difficult to communicate. Eventually, there is loss of long-term memory also, like forgetting the name of spouse. Further, it becomes more dangerous. That is, the patient might get disoriented and they might wander from home and get lost. In the later stages, they become bedridden, and the most common cause of death is recurrent infections like pneumonia. Diagnosis of Alzheimer's disease is really tough and difficult. First, we have to exclude the other causes of dementia. The only definitive way to show that a person has Alzheimer's disease is brain biopsy, that is done after autopsy. The diagnosis includes detailed history taking, that is asking history with the family and friends of the patients, psychiatric assessment of the patient, and laboratory tests like complete blood count and to rule out vitamin B12 and folate deficiency, and also we have to rule out hypothyroidism. CSF examination, that is cerebrospinal fluid examination, shows beta amyloid 42 particles, and brain imaging includes CT, MRI, and PET scan. CT and MRI scans, which relieve the anatomic structures of brain, are used here to rule out problems like tumors, hemorrhage, and stroke. and also hydrocephalus, which can masquerade the Alzheimer's disease. These scans can also show the loss of brain mass associated with Alzheimer's disease and other dementia. Next, PET scan. It is the special PET scan which uses radioactive tracers to highlight amyloid protein plaques in the brain, which is a hallmark of Alzheimer's disease. They may also help doctors to diagnose Alzheimer's disease earlier, even before any symptoms appear. This is the PET scan of brain showing the amyloid plaques. While there is no cure for Alzheimer's disease, there are 5 prescription drugs currently approved by the US Food and Drug Administration (FDA) to treat its symptoms. 3 of the 5 available medicines, which are donazepam, galantamine and rivastigmine, are from a class of drugs called cholinesterase inhibitors. These drugs prevent the breakdown of a chemical messenger in the brain that is important for learning and memory. The fourth drug, memantine, regulates the activity of a different chemical messenger in the brain that is also important for learning and memory. Both types of drugs help manage the symptoms but work in different ways. The fifth medication is a combination of one of the cholinesterase inhibitors, donepezil, with memantine. These drugs are used to improve thinking ability, behavior, and functional ability. Actually, these drugs can't cure the disease completely. They are used just to improve the cognitive functions. The 21st September of every year is observed and celebrated as World Alzheimer's Day, and international campaigns are conducted on this day to spread awareness in order to prevent it and provide better options for people who suffer from it. Thank you.